right, stand by. Roll sound.
Speed.
Roll camera.
Speeding.
Slate.
Scene one, take one, mark.
And action. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Burnie's Applebox. And today we got an awesome guest, very nice person who I just had the great chance of meeting in person just before the show, but have known her for a few years, Emily Stadulis.
Nice to see you again, Burnie.
Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Finally, I feel like I know you, just like we all do over social media and within our industry. You know, there's people I've talked to from companies just like yourself, then you go back and forth. I mean, you're making jokes with each other and everything like that. And then you sit down and you really realize, hey, this is the first time I'm meeting this person. You know, so welcome. I'm glad we're together and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So now you work with Rosco, right?
Yes.
And you're a rep for them. What do you do? Tell me about your job. What's your territory?
Yeah, so I am the Western Regional Rep. Okay. So I handle all of the accounts for about 10 states all along the Western region. So I get to talk to end users like yourself, gaffers and DPs. I get to talk to our rental houses and our dealerships and help support them with the gear and the information they need to help service you guys. And I do that for both the film community and the television community, as well as the areas that Rosco does, such as theater, architecture, live entertainment, that all kind of tie together.
Yeah, and you know what, that's interesting because you bring that up, and I think being in this industry that I'm in, and you're in a wider industry, we forget that there is architectural lighting.
Yeah.
And they need to be surfaced with some of the same products that you do. And that's something that guys like me just don't think a lot about, I should say. You know, are you familiar with Bill Hoshevnikov? Do you know Bill? Yeah. Well, Bill always had a dream that I just loved, and it was education about lighting on all levels. Architectural, theater, you know, movies, film and TV, you know. And I just always thought that was such a brilliant idea. And you are sort of in that marketplace with all those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about some of Roscoe's products. And I just want to hear like your general 30,000 view of your products and stuff and how that works.
So we're a manufacturer of creative tools for people to achieve their vision. So as you said, that can be anywhere. That can be on a film TV set, that can be in a theater, it can be lighting up a building or a theme park. So I would say we're mostly known for our lighting products. So we started making ways to filter light way back in the early 1900s. Okay. So we're mainly known for our filters. We were one of the first companies though to make LEDs starting about 12 years ago with our Lightpad product. And then we also get into specialty effect fixtures. We get into green screen and paints and floors and other really kind of small things to help support the creative endeavors on the sides of that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So an early adopter of the LED technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so 12 years ago, tell me, were you with the company 12 years ago?
I was not, but I was using the product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Tell me about that sort of early time of introducing a product like that. What was the reception like? What kind of, was it very, were people suspicious of it, or were they more open to it? How was it?
At the time, it was a really specialized product. We still make it, but we're on our 7th generation, so there's been a lot of changes.
Sure.
But it was the Lightpad product, and so it was an edge-lit, impact-resistant acrylic material that could go anywhere and light just about anything. And so, you know, up until that point, you'd have to use things like tungsten and HMIs behind a softbox or a large piece of diffusion to get soft illumination. That made it really hard if you were in tight spots like a car shoot, you know, or something like that, or to do product shots without getting a really specular source or very hot. So Lightpad was really revolutionary at the time, but quickly as the technology, you know, started to change, people started to notice, oh, it was a little bit green. You know, it had some other things. It wasn't as bright as front-facing LEDs. So we very quickly, as I said, we're on our 7th generation now of that product, and we've expanded the LED range greatly to solve some of those problems.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, and when you're in a market like this, tell me about what kind of feedback. Now you're a rep, so you're actually that person who's on the front line talking to people like me out there. Tell me a little bit about how you assimilate that information and how you feed it back, because that's always interested me. It always seems like there's a gap, understandably, between the manufacturer and the user, because the manufacturer can't turn around tomorrow and give you what you want. There's a lot of process there. So tell me about how that works with you, and just hearing what you're saying and how you feed it back.
Yeah, so my background is as an end user. So I was the person hounding the manufacturers and complaining about things that I wanted to see in the next generation, or wondering, why the heck doesn't this do the thing I want it to do, and why has nobody come up with a solution for this? And so my transition, as I got deeper and deeper involved in the manufacturers from the end user side, I really wanted to be on the side where I was listening to people and helping to create the next tool.
And you had some influence in there, yes.
Yeah, absolutely, and even greater influence, and from different markets too, as we said. So, like you said, it is much more complicated than I realized, and now I regret, some of the strong language I used to the manufacturers in my past.
We all do that,
right?
Don't worry, Emily. We all do that.
But it is a process of taking in and kind of saying, okay, you could make something that was everything to everyone, but then you'd necessarily be muddying what it was able to do. Maybe
it
for
would
core
probably,
users.
if you tried to do that, it wouldn't work for anybody. Too,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's so important.
Also, we could give you everything, or we could give you certain things, but would you be willing to pay for it?
Right.
Yeah.
And we all know the answer to that, right?
Right. Yeah.
If I can find it cheaper somewhere, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't do exactly everything, because there's only so much money out there.
Everybody's constrained with budgets these days.
So tell me, Emily, then that brings this up to a good start point here. What did you do? Tell me about your career path into this industry.
Yeah, so I like to say that I got started in the industry when I was about the size of a sheet of gel. But I did start off in the theatrical realm.
Okay.
So first I started off, acting on stage, right? Because that's what you think you're going to do.
That's what you see on TV. That's what movies are. They're about actors. So a lot of people intersect acting.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but very quickly, my father was an engineer, so I think that was an influence on me. I started getting into the technical side when I was about 11 years old.
Okay.
And started building sets, started wanting to
At
climb
11?
up the ladders.
At 11?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. And the more and more I started doing that, the more I realized that that's what I really liked to do, and I liked to shape the images that I was seeing on set. So I became a professional lighting and scenic designer for theater.
Wow.
And I did that for 10 years.
So now and where did you go to school at? How did you?
Yeah, up in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
So it was a small liberal arts college called Lewis and Clark.
Oh, I know Lewis and Clark.
Okay,
Oh
yeah,
I'm from Tacoma.
Oh,
originally.
really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, this is why we do these
Yeah,
things, so we
that's right.
discover
That's
things about
right.
one
Of course, we
another.
never talked about that, but yeah, no, I'm from Tacoma,
Okay,
so yeah.
so you know,
I know
yeah.
what rain is like for 3 weeks in a row,
Yeah.
as you do too.
Yeah. I think my first year there, we had 90 days straight of
Oh.
no sun and nonstop rain.
No, you know what? People don't believe that,
No.
but it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All gray, cold, dark.
Yeah.
You know.
There's 3 weeks of summer. No
Which I
joke.
can tell you is pretty good indication why we're both down here.
Yes,
right
exactly.
Now, right? Yeah. Okay. Good. So you went to you started in theater. I assume you were in every high school play or in the tech department
Yes.
at least. Okay. And then you went to Lewis and Clark, which is not a big art school, I guess, you know, or whatever. But you got out of that. Then tell me what you did after college. How did you intersect working?
Yeah. So I started designing for the community. For the most part, I was a lighting designer for the theatrical community. And then as the runaway film business started heading up to Portland, especially with things like, Leverage and Portlandia, things like that. So there was a need for a lot of those kind of specialty theatrical lighting trips.
Sure.
And so started getting kind of pulled in to help folks do that, and eventually kind of wound up accidentally working at a rental house dealership. And
In Portland?
in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah. And surprisingly, it's just sort of to help out when the recession was happening. and then really liked helping everybody in all of those communities.
Oh, that's great. So you
Yeah.
probably met through that a lot of people in the industry.
Yes.
Yeah. So you said found out what they did, what their business model was like, that type of thing.
I
Great.
started learning more about the film TV industry,
Mm-hmm.
really started to get interested in that, as well as the architectural uses of lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you said, there are some things that are common, but there's also very specialized things that each one of those industries may use. A Fresnel, for instance, you might use a Fresnel in all three of those industries.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yes.
And I really liked that,
Yes,
you
that's
know?
very cool. Yeah.
So-
and I think that's part of the broader education. If somebody wants to really educate themselves, they should study architectural lighting, how to light a home. You know,
Yeah.
how to light landscape even. You know, at night if you want some. We had a guy here last week. A drone operator. He's putting lights on drones and doing some amazing work with that, which was very, very exciting. Exciting to see. So now you're in Portland, and this sounds like about the 2009, 2010 period. Am I
Yeah.
correct on that?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So tell me, how did you intersect Roscoe then? Was it from working at that place? Did they have Roscoe products there?
Yes, and then before then, Roscoe's everywhere.
Sure, because you're in theater and
Yeah.
they're supplying the school, I'm sure, for with products and stuff like that. You know, it's funny because I've always had such an envy of theater lighting because it tells such a story. You know, I working professionally here and out in the field, you know, there's a lot of times I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over and over. You know, I love making a beautiful picture. That's great, you know, but you don't, a lot of times, you know, you tell a story with a background, you know, and some lighting there, you know, the environment, lighting the environment tells over a story. But in theater, wow, it can take you somewhere. You know, that lighting and you know, lighting a piece or lighting movement or something like that is just fascinating. So, when you were at this place and after you'd had your experience, so tell me how you got to Southern California.
Yeah, so you use products in the field by a lot of manufacturers, and you have one experience and you start to kind of develop your favorites, and Roscoe was always a favorite of mine as a designer and an end user. And then you have a whole different relationship with manufacturers when you are connecting the end user with the manufacturer.
Sure.
Somebody orders a product, somebody wants to demo something, you need to rush something overnight to make your shoot.
Sure.
And you really start to see manufacturers in a different level and to a different depth. And Roscoe was honestly one of those companies that just always stood out to me as having a lot of integrity, being a lot of fun, frankly, coming up with some really cool creative technologies. I tell the story, one of our folks who still works for our company, Amy Strong, so at one point she was a product manager, and it was like 9 p.m. and I was working on this crazy project trying to solve this issue, and I shot her off an email saying, you know, I think this one Roscoe product would do what I want it to do, but I've got these questions. I was thinking she's going to get back to me tomorrow morning.
Right.
You know, I'll wait, and you know, I get this phone call, and it's Amy, and she runs me through and answers all my questions, and at the end of it says, but I don't think this is actually the right product for your project. I think you actually need to use this other person's product. I'm going to shoot off an email, connect you guys to, so that you can use them.
Wow.
And I think that says so much.
No, that says
Right?
a lot. That says a lot.
Yeah.
That's beyond excellent customer service.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's for a kid, college kid in Portland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
You know?
very awesome. That's very awesome. What's her name?
Amy Strong.
Amy Strong.
Yeah.
Good job, Amy.
Good job, Amy. Yeah. She's actually one of the vice presidents now for
Oh, that's
architectural
great.
product
Well, I can
lines.
see
So,
why.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, you
That's
know,
awesome.
what I liked about working for the dealership and the rental house was that I got to now work on everybody's project. I got to learn way more about the technology. I got to help educate people a lot more than I was previously. I've always been a big proponent of education. But I did miss some things about the field work. I missed traveling. I missed being on sets and being in the theaters and doing things.
Absolutely.
And so kind of the perfect situation happened where Roscoe is looking for a Western rep. get to travel, get to be on set with folks.
Wow.
I get to hold my own workshops now, and so it was the perfect move for me, and now I have the best of both worlds.
That is so great. What year was that you were hired?
2000, I want to say 13 or 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great, great. So you've been there a while now. And did you go from Portland to move down here?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a trip that is.
Yeah.
I've made that journey. So tell me about that. What was that journey like for you? Because Portland, LA.
Two very different
Portland,
places.
yeah. I mean, Portland's a city, yes, all that, but you're
Nothing
in
like
a
LA.
world economy when you're down here. You're in a world city when you're down here. Tell me about that transition for you.
So the actual transition, I found that it was helpful that I knew how to drive a box truck.
Yeah,
Right? So
right.
we just loaded everything up.
That should
we
be
knew how
a
to pack a truck.
prerequisite to living in LA, yeah.
And I grew up in Texas. I'd lived a little bit in New
What
York.
part of Texas?
In between Dallas and Fort Worth, and then also in San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
So I've lived in a bunch of different places, and I've gotten to see different parts of the countries, and I kind of have the feeling that there's no one perfect place. There's
Sure.
good and there's bad things about every place.
Absolutely.
But I was really, really happy to move down to LA because it was just, it's what I was looking for.
Because
right?
it's
For
LA.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that I found that LA kind of has my favorite parts of all of those three places. So it's got the big city feel of New York, but it's spread out. I'm definitely a Western girl,
Yeah.
and so I like
yeah.
having that space. I like
Yep.
being able to go to the beach or the mountains, and not
100
be-
miles to Western people is like 2 miles if you're on the East Coast,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
just like,
exactly.
oh, that's 100 miles. I mean, I know how many miles you must put on. I mean,
Yeah.
that's incredible. You were just coming back from San Diego.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's the thing. You have to adjust to that. But yeah, so the distance, you like the size, you like the bigness and everything like that.
And as I started to learn more about the film and TV industry and get more involved in that up in Portland, I loved it, but it was a smaller town.
It's limited.
So there were
Yeah,
limits,
sure.
and LA has world-class economies for all of that, for film, TV, for architecture. You've got all the theme parks down here,
Right.
live theater and concerts.
Right.
So, it was when I was up in Portland, I would always tell customers about the latest cool technology or recommend things to folks, but there was never the budget for it.
Yeah.
And I finally live in a town where people have the budgets for that kind of thing. So you get to see all of that cool technology
That's
in
so
action.
exciting.
And love it.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
And you're so right about that too, because if it exists anywhere in the world, it exists in LA.
Yeah.
It's that's maybe a bit of an overstatement, but just like you say, the theme parks, the architectural, the certainly film and TV, it's the production colossus of the world.
And they feed off of one another.
Yes.
And they inform one another. I mean,
Yes.
it is a diverse city in a way that I certainly didn't really understand. Because, right, you have the American kind of lens of what
totally.
Hollywood and LA is.
Yeah.
And it's not like that.
No.
It feels like a small town sometimes to me.
Well, you know what? It's a very sort of insular industry that we're in, because I guess this is somewhat of an example of it. There are friends that I have who I've had for a long time, and probably including my wife to a certain degree. I know they don't truly get everything I'm doing in the industry and how it works. You know what I mean? And they don't have to. You know what I mean? They don't have to know it. But when you talk to another inside industry people, immediately the language is just flowing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's back and forth. You're talking about the same thing, the same issues, same reference points, and all of that. And it's so true. You don't get that other places. You do down here.
Yeah.
That's what makes it small. That's what makes it insular.
It feels like kind of being at summer camp, right? I live in a city where I'm not the only person talking about, a redhead and not meaning myself, right? Like I can talk to so many people and they all understand what I'm talking about. And that's really something. It's something, growing up in Texas and being in the arts,
Yeah.
I was
That's
kind of
not,
out.
yeah. If you were in the FFA, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's more relevant to that area. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm just saying it because it's Texas.
Yeah.
And I used to live in Oklahoma.
Oh, so you
I know
know.
about the FFA. Yeah. Future Farmers of America,
Yeah.
by the way. Yeah.
Like 4-H, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So that is great. Yeah, down here you've got that big mesh, and that's what I love about it too, because you don't know what's going to happen or what opportunity is going to walk through the door too. That's the other thing, you know, is and also I would say too, another thing, and this is probably more of our industry, and it's the size of LA, you know, you don't have people that are all locked into one way of doing something.
Yeah, you can't be.
You
can't
cannot be. You cannot be. And that is so exciting because that's one thing that I was 38 when I left Tacoma. So this was not like, you know, I mean, I had lived a full work life in Tacoma I was not in this industry and then came down here. But that was one of the things that was so exciting is people were open to new ways of doing things.
Yes.
You know, and ideas, and there was no right or wrong. And there was a lot of, well, let's see if that works.
Yeah.
You know?
Experimentation.
Yes,
Well, that's what
yes.
drives our industry forward is people thinking about new ways of doing things.
Absolutely.
It's amazing to be in the heart of that.
It
really
is.
is.
It really is, and it charges you up. You
Yeah.
know, and you also know that, well, if this isn't working out here, I can just take a short hop right over to here, and it's going to work out. You know,
Yeah.
and those are the type of people who are doing the things I like you found with Roscoe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's it. We're going to do a little quick break, and we will be right back.
Sounds good.
Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. You know, we pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No, we present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Welcome back. We were here with Emily Stadulis.
You got it.
And I always check on that name. And she told me the best way to remember to do it. What is it? Tell us.
It's like Emily's to-do list, which is very apropos.
So
Yeah.
Emily Stadulis.
There you go.
I love it. I love it. And so we were just talking about coming down to LA and all that sort of represents and coming into a new a market. I'm interested though because here's the thing in our industry. So many people move to LA. So many people from Ohio or Mississippi or wherever you are. You know, you follow your dreams, and it seems like the dreams are always springing from California. You know, that seems to be the place that our state has that rap that things can happen here. And I can attest to it did for me, and it did for you as well. Tell me about some of the downsides that when you got here, what did you have to really adjust to?
I mean, I guess on one level, it's, you know, kind of the cliche is the traffic, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, it never feels bad to me because I'm always seeing somebody new every day, and I don't
Right.
have the same schedule
Right.
every day.
Yes.
So I always get to see a new part of the city, or even if I'm going to see the same person, I'm probably not going to see that same person the same way I saw him the last time.
Right.
Because maybe I was, you know, crawling around, you know, at the bottom of a roller coaster
Yeah.
the day before, and
Sure.
now I'm heading there from an architect's office or whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. I think that it is amazing to be in the heart of everything, and that, of course, has an advantage. But it's hard then to also, you know, get to the forefront of things. So
Yes.
you have to trust in yourself
Yes.
and trust in your company and whatever you're doing to say, okay, you know, I know that this is going to take time. You have to build a relationship with people, and that takes time to build that trust. You know?
You know what, Emily, truly, I think that really nails it right there because when you're in a smaller place and coming from a smaller place, it's easier, I guess, to stand out in front of that little one thing that you're doing. You know, you come down here and it can be all encompassing, and you go, how am I ever going to stand out? How am I ever going to get to the top? But, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, is that what I found is consistency. It's having a vision and sticking with it, not flopping all over. Of course, change is important to be able to change on a dime when things aren't working. But by that sort of fortitude of sticking with it, of being out there, it's amazing how fast you can kind of rise to the top here.
Yeah, and I think sticking to the core of who you are, right?
Oh.
I can be flexible and do my job a lot of different ways as long as I maintain my values and how I treat people and the quality and the speediness of service that I can bring to things.
Yeah.
You know, as long as that's the same, then we'll figure out how to get the actual job done.
And you know, Emily, too, that is so appropriate, because I tell guys a lot of times, 90% of this job is showing up on time.
Yeah.
You know, and that sounds like I'm putting it down, or doesn't it? It's having people that have a consistent pattern. It's somebody who knows how to handle themselves personally. Are they polite? You know, do they work well with other people? You know, do they treat people the way that they'd want to be treated? That's the simplest, you know, formula right there. But that is so true. That has so much to do with getting ahead.
Gear is gear, and you know, I can teach anybody how to put a flag up or you know, change color temperature on a fixture. But finding people, who maintain that core value, I think.
That is a very rare thing. That is a very rare thing. That's awesome. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. You know, Roscoe, what you know, I don't know if you have any idea of this or answer the question. We have 2 sky panels out here, and we have several Select 30s, you know, from Kino Flow. And of course, as you know, in the menu there, you can select Roscoe colors or Lee colors, you know. Here's what I'm curious about. When I first heard that, I thought, why would Roscoe or Lee do that? I would say, doesn't that stop them from selling gel on those things? Okay, so, and that's a very, you know, low kind of point of view of it. Tell me about that, though. How does it work? I'm assuming that Roscoe licenses that to manufacturers. Am I correct on that?
So yes, some manufacturers have license agreements with us, and we work with them to make sure that that what they are claiming they can get with their LEDs is within a certain parameter of acceptance.
Sure.
That we feel, okay, you are hitting that color as close as can reasonably be expected with an LED, because one of the limitations that we deal with in the industry right now is that you kind of have your choice. You either have full spectrum white light that has a lot of output and can render colors really well, or you have what I would call effect LEDs. So the reds, the greens, the blues, the colored LEDs. And right now, the LEDs do not exist in the universe to be able to mix those effect LEDs in any combination to get certain colors.
Okay.
So you'll notice, right? Like when you, and Roscoe has color changing LED fixtures too, and we have certain colors that we say, yeah, you can get reasonably close to that color in a gel. But there are some colors that you'll see are not on the back of those fixtures because the wavelengths just aren't there to try and recreate it.
Okay.
So as I said, we were on the forefront of LED technology.
Yes.
Roscoe's always been a diverse company more than filters because we understand that there's, you know, technologies change, and if you only do one thing or you're only approaching lighting one way, you're not going to be relevant anymore. You know, it's the whole horse buggy whip situation.
Sure, yeah.
We don't want to do that, and we never have. So we were embracers of the LED technology very early on. We want to work with manufacturers to get better, and we are innovating and working on some really cool
some new
LED
stuff.
technology to address some of the issues that I was just saying.
Can you give us a hint?
I can't, because we're working on like the patents and the IP right now.
Okay.
Like it is super on lockdown. Don't tell anybody, my product managers. I just said that. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's very good to hear. It's very exciting. I was so excited. It was so excited to see it the first time. You know, I went into area and they demonstrated that for me and a couple other people, and it was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just unbelievable,
Yeah.
and then I saw what KinoFlow did with it, and I bought that product as well. And I mean, it's really, really thrilling. I think one of the things is it's hard to explain to people in the sense that, yes, they get, oh, you can do this with it, but how much variety you have in there is I think the key component, And also, one thing is our industry, and I'm talking really from my little part of it, we're so used to shooting either daylight or tungsten that introducing colors to scenes and things like that, non-theatrical, right? Now, theatrical would be all over that, I mean, very quickly. But the adoption is a little slower, I think, on our end.
Hugely.
Yes.
I think that was one of the transitions that I was shocked about moving into more of the film TV side, because theater is very quick to adopt new technologies,
absolutely.
and the architectural side as well, to some extent. And I was really surprised that, LEDs in the film TV side of things have really only been widely adopted and accepted, what would you say, 4 or 5 years maybe?
Oh, at most.
At
most.
most.
At most.
You know?
At most. I mean, every year there's more adoption. Every year I think products come out that grab more of the market share, And that's interesting why. I think that really, as I guess just taking it from myself, and this is probably an example for a lot of people, I guess. First of all, I own gear.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Once you own gear and you are in a rental situation with clients, here's the thing. It's not just about renting your gear at the price. First of all, as a gaffer, when I'm on set, I'm suggesting things I don't own at different times. However, the reason that you own the gear in the first place is it probably is filling 80 to 90% of the jobs that come through your door. That's why you bought it. You bought it because you were tired of sub-renting it.
Yeah.
And you've got it. So therefore, it's almost without thinking about it, without even really trying, you're getting yourself into a more narrow and narrow path all the time of the jobs you do and the size, because size of your lighting package is going to determine the size of the budgets of the jobs that generally come to you. I'm not doing big features. I'm doing 1 or 2 day corporate stuff or commercials or infomercials or something like that. So I think that too drives us into that hole or that sort of niche where we're not breaking out of it. And that is the psychology of why, you're not quick to accept something else. You know what I mean? You're, oh yeah, let's try this. Let's go experiment with that. And you're experimenting on other people's money too.
Okay, so here's my theory. I've been working with this, so I want to run this by you and see what you think. So I think that is where kind of my brain went to, is that the way in which you set up your light and use your light in those two industries, theater and film, are very different. So in the theater, you are in a dark theater by yourself or with your master electrician, and you are setting up the lights, and that's when you, to a limited extent, are experimenting and trying things out. It's just you and one other person.
Right.
By the time the other people come into the room, somebody's just hitting a go button.
Yep.
But in film and TV, you're live setting things up. You don't have a set.
Yeah.
Things are flexible. So you are now, like you said, everybody else now is waiting on you. And if you're not using something that you know is going to work in the moment, you are costing a lot of people a lot of money.
Bingo.
And so it's a lot harder, to ask people to try something new and to break out of that mold. So
right. No, it is
I'm
very
on there,
much.
but-
Oh no, you are definitely on
Okay.
it. That's definitely the thing when I walk in and I'm going to light. First of all, many times I'm the biggest crew there.
Yeah.
So in other words, sound's got maybe a boom pole operator, maybe makeup has an assistant, or whatever. I've got 3 guys with me.
Yeah.
So we have to come in and we have to hit it hard. So we're costing the production a lot of money right off the get-go. They don't want stops. They don't want something breaking. They don't want a light going down, anything like that. And by the time you're there, you should be executing a plan before you get out of the truck, not planning it on your way there. So that's a really big thing, time and that you don't want anybody waiting on you, know. So it does cut off that experimentation level. And I wonder what I think it's dedication to lighting. You know, there is a certain, if you are the kind of guy who on Saturday goes down to your shop when you're not working and you have borrowed a light from somebody because you want to see how it works, and you end up spending 2 or 3 hours down there playing with it, you're going to make money in this business.
Yes.
You know, because you live it, eat it, drink it, breathe it. You know, if you are just looking for solutions that can kind of cover a big portion of the industry, you're going to do fine, but that is not going to be innovative. You're going to adopt something when it's more popular, you know, and it's already been proven. So I think you are very much right on the mark there. I think very much on it.
And it kind of ties back to our conversation in LA. If you are in a huge city and you've got a lot of competition, like you have to be on the forefront of what's heading. And what is the next efficient thing, and you know, how can I use this new technology so that I can stand out, so I can offer my customer, my client, something new and different. So to your listeners out there, call your manufacturers like me, you know, ask to see the new gear and just play with it, get to understand it, because that's going to help you set yourself apart.
And that's very good advice, by the way. That's very good advice. Don't just call somebody when you need something or just a price check or something. Hey, what's going on? I know I've got a very good relationship with Kino Flow and Airy and Chimera, all three of them. And I have that a more casual relationship where they go, hey, what are you guys working on? Sometimes Frieder will take me back and show me a little something, you know, and it's very exciting. Ray down there demonstrated the Select 30s when we bought them. Just, I mean, really, really very nice. Lots of great customer service. And that was so important because, you know, while you're seeing that demonstration and your mind's going, hey, I could do that. I could slip this under a car. We can go all blue. We can do like a warm background and a blue under the car or in the car or something like that, you know. So you're always thinking about that. And that's a resource that I think people underutilize too. You know, the rag plates, for an example, just to throw another vendor out who I use, always very upfront with what's out there right now. You know, when they came up with Magic Cloth and stuff, they introduced me to that. And then I was working with Greg Flores. He used Magic Cloth. I saw that. And so it's just like, I'm back there the next day. Hey, let me, you know, I'll buy a 6-by of that and let me play with my lights with it. And I did. And I ended up getting all sizes, you know. So it works like that. That's very good advice.
And I think people are going to have to start spending their Saturdays looking at this gear, because as the technology improves and offers you more flexibility on set, necessarily the interface and things are going to get more and more complex, as you know, right?
Oh,
sure, it's
absolutely.
Great that fixtures, like we all have wireless in our fixtures now. That's awesome. But it's not as simple as just pulling up your phone.
Yeah.
You have to set up extra hardware. You have to set up that software. You have to check your wireless space and make sure that you're operating on the best frequency so it doesn't get disrupted.
Yes.
So there's so much more now going on, and it is the wild, wild west of technology. It used to be you throw up a tungsten light, you're gonna know what you're gonna get. Well, now a tungsten light from 5 different manufacturers, sometimes the same manufacturer, different lines, may not match. And there's cost benefits to why we do that. You know, again, one light's maybe $50 and one light is maybe $5,000.
Right.
But getting to know that and how to work with that new technology, so you're not wasting people's time and money on set. Is increasingly critical.
That's very, very, very good points. Very good points right there. When a new product comes out from Roscoe, tell me about that process, because there too, and let me just give you a little bit of, you know, reason I asked that. And I've talked to several people in the industry of this. All of a sudden now, LEDs are everywhere. There's a new product. You know, it's just everywhere. And you see people doing very innovative things. You know what I mean? I want to give them not get it wrong, Light Gear. You know, coming out with what they're doing with LEDs and stuff. Very innovative, and obviously coming from the ground up. These solutions came from on set, right? But at the same time, we are a very, as you know, narrow market. You know, there is, I mean, we are not ever going to be the wine market. You know what I mean? People are not going to buy Roscoe lights like they go down and buy a bottle of wine, you know. Oh, I just love the light, you know what I mean? So I bought it. It's never going to be like that. We're a narrow market in a narrow field. There is a lot of competition that has arisen in the last 3 or 4 years. Not everybody's going to be a survivor. In fact, maybe a majority will not be survivors. How does Rosco approach that when you're releasing a new product?
So I think the first step is happening way before we release that product. We don't release products that we haven't gone out to the market and talked with tons of people to see what is it they want, what is the price point that they're looking for. And so we go through several stages of prototyping and giving the equipment at different stages to folks in the, in the field.
Doing actual field tests.
Yeah, to see, okay, is this answering the call? And okay, now that we gave you the crazy thing that does everything you want, so great, you're gonna pay 10 grand for it. You might go, yeah, okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
So even with us, maybe I would say 20 to 30% of the things that we actually kind of start brainstorming about, and maybe even develop a prototype, actually get to market.
Okay, only 20 to 30% of even things you've developed a prototype for.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. How is the ideas generated? Do the ideas come from your side of the fence for
All
people?
you.
Yeah.
It is all you.
Back to the client.
Yeah.
Back to the client.
And it's cool, Roscoe's, for as broad of a reach and as old of a company we are, we're still relatively small. We've got about 250 employees worldwide.
Okay, that is small.
Yeah. And all of our product developers for the most part are in the US, and I have a one-to-one relationship with those people. So
That's
just on
awesome.
my way over here, I was just visiting some folks. I heard from 3 different people the same thing that they wanted in our next iteration. So I call up Jack, my product manager, and say, hey, I just talked with 3 different people. They all want the same thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
He goes, okay, yeah, let me see.
So that's a really direct line, right?
Yeah.
That's a hugely direct line.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. That's great. That's great. So that you have a lot of customer feedback already before you go into the marketplace. Yeah. That's very good. Very good. What do people want?
I think absolutely where you're going with color inside LED fixtures, that's huge. And right now we do still have that limitation in the market where you either can render full colors really well under white light, or you've got effect lights. And right now we don't at least feel like there's anything out there that does both of those really, really well. Your TLCI and your CRI on a lot of those fixtures, including the ones that we make, max out, at the mid 80s, low 90s. So we're working on ways to address that and to have a color space that's truly comprehensive.
Yeah.
On that, I think that's the big one. I think you also have a division in the market where you used to kind of have a low-end market, a middle-tier market, and a super high-end market. And we're starting to see that people are either looking for the cheap, or they are willing to pay whatever it costs
On the top,
for the premium.
Yeah. But the middle market is kind of
It's kind of going
not
away.
well.
Yeah.
Interesting. We're going to take a quick break here, and we will be right back.
Sounds good.
Burnie's workshop is fantastic. Burnie's workshop is awesome. Burnie's workshop is insightful.
Burnie, in one word, passionate maybe. You can tell he really cares a lot.
Burnie is a badass.
He's a great teacher. He has great stories, and I would recommend this to anyone. Not only someone like me who's starting day one, but I feel that in any profession, as you sharpen your sword, it always gets sharper.
I think the best thing about this is the access to understanding how to run your business, how to actually be in this filmmaking industry and make money at it. Coming to this workshop, I think, is what actually gets you the tools to understand how to do that, how to get out there and sell yourself.
I thought that was really cool. I thought, he knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows how to show that to us and actually demonstrate it so we actually know what he's talking about.
I really like the hands-on experience. That's something that you don't find a lot. That's something you have to go on set a lot to just appreciate.
I know this is a lighting seminar, but it's not only talk about lighting. He also share his business experience, personal experience, and guide us to what we should do, what kind of personality we should have in this business.
His stories, I think that kind of say everything, all in a few example stories that he gives out from time to time.
I would recommend this workshop to anybody who's just spread into the industry, people who just don't know the swing of it. A lot of this stuff they don't teach you in film school. I deal with a lot of freelancers every day, a lot of peers that I went to school with, a lot of professionals in the field, and they all need to take this class because it puts you on the next level, on the next playing field.
Burnie's a great guy. Burnie's really authentic. Like everything he learns, everything he teaches, the way he handles himself, the way he deals with other people. He's a one-of-a-kind guy, someone I've never come across before in the industry, and someone I hope to emulate and hope that there are more people like him out there that can help.
Hey everybody, back Burnie's Applebox with Emily Stadulis. Great to see you. You got great conversations too. I'll tell you, I know I should be better prepared for these things, but usually I meet people I like and just say, hey, you want to be on my show? So that's what I did this time, and it's worked out so far, so I'm pretty happy. And thank you so much. It's been fascinating to hear from a manufacturer's point of view, And, one of the things too in releasing products is obviously that time it just takes to get adoption.
Yes.
That's got to be what, a 1 or 2 year process, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, at least.
At least.
Like you were talking
least.
about.
Yeah.
5 years, yeah.
So I know you've got some video, and this is another thing I do in the show, mistakenly, is I always get so wrapped up in talking to somebody, I always forget, we should probably be showing some videos sooner than this, but you've got some product videos that you brought with you, so I'd like to take a look and see what Rosco has. What do you want to look at first here?
Sure. So like we were talking about, Roscoe makes a wide variety of levels of products. So this is kind of a fun one. It's fun to show on video. It's one of our LED products that we make, and it is known for being really indestructible. So it's called the Vector, and it is so robust that you can run over it with a car, like we'll see. So you want to roll the tape?
All right. I think you take the P&P out.
So this is actually live action.
Wow.
And
so that's running over the light, the vector light right there. Interesting.
And you will see the DP comes by.
And he goes, hey, the grip truck ran over the light.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Couple of more scratches. Broke in the front. But
and so, as we were talking about, this is actually the 7th generation version of our Lightpad.
Oh,
so
okay.
we've learned a lot. We've increased the output, and because of that impact-resistant form factor, the LEDs are protected on the side. So A, you have that naturally soft light, but B, you can do things like this.
Wow, incredible.
Don't do that with our premium level lights. Yeah, the silks won't take that abuse.
Don't do that. Don't try this at home. Don't try this at home. So what else do we have? You got a couple more here, right?
So in addition to the lighting fixtures that we make, we also have our backings. And so our backings were something that we developed back in the 70s, and we got one of our first Academy Awards for them for developing that day-night technology.
Okay.
So frontlit for day, backlit for night. In the past 3 years, we've developed that same technology on fabric, which you didn't used to be able to do for a variety of reasons. So now we can go 90 feet high and 175 feet wide, totally seamless, and it's totally matte, so you don't have the reflections, but you still get that beautiful day-night look, and it actually looks more realistic because of the way the fabric kind of pulls the light.
Wow.
So if you want, we can go to the video now where we see the transition, starting night and
going
to day. So.
And this is all a backdrop. Wow.
Yeah.
And that goes from night is backlit, and then day is frontlit.
Frontlit, exactly.
That's pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible. This is the first time I'm seeing this, so I didn't expect that dramatic of a difference.
Yeah, and you can see, so your talent's right in front of there. You can change camera angles, and you don't have the reflections and the kicks that we've had to put up with vinyl.
And what is the name of this product? How do you refer to it?
That is our soft drop.
Soft drop.
Yes.
The soft drop. Very interesting. And I'm assuming this is used mostly by movies, TV shows, that type of thing, right?
For the most part,
yeah.
But we are working on some smaller format ones for grip trucks and things like that.
That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, that's very, very nice. That's great. What else have we got?
So I would say the last thing that we just started this year at Cine Gear that we're really proud and excited about is we have, for one of our gel filter lines, our e-color line. So that's the surface coated gel. It is the same cinnamon numbering system that you might be commonly used to. So 216's a full diffusion, things like that. And we partnered up with the Safety for Sara Foundation.
Okay, I know you guys are doing that, promoting safety too. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so for those of you who may not be aware, the Safety for Sara Foundation was started in response to a first AC who was unfortunately killed on set due to some unsafe practices that
Very
were
unsafe
happening.
practices,
Very
yeah.
unsafe practices. And so her parents started this foundation, the Sarah Jones Foundation, and they have been using it to get awareness out. Working in conjunction with ICG and IATSE, they've developed a free app where you can actually report safety conditions anonymously.
Awesome. Oh, that's awesome.
And we wanted to find a way. We've had a long history of charitable contributions and supporting the industry that supports us. And so we got in touch with them this year and wanted to find a way where we could partner with them. And so a portion of all proceeds of our e-color line go to support the Safety for Sara Foundation.
Oh, that's great.
You'll get stickers in the rolls of gel that you can put on your cart to show your support. And it's just a great way for us to give back to the community and for other people to give back.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad to see your money going there, that's for sure, because you can't, number one, you can't be safe enough.
Absolutely.
And I feel like before Sarah Jones, there was a real blind eye being turned to true safety on set. And when you look at the Sarah Jones issue and how she died and why she died, it was all so preventable.
Yes.
And even a little bit of common sense should have told you, you got to change the shot on this one.
Yeah.
You know, just, I mean, putting the crew in the middle of a bridge on a train track, I don't know how you get there in the first place, you know, but unfortunately it happened.
It spoke to me personally because, as we talked about, I started out when I was very young.
You could be Sarah Jones.
Yeah, you want to work, and it's hard. It's hard to speak up and say, I don't think that what we're doing right now is okay, because you're worried, am I going to get blacklisted? And so having this community effort where we're all saying we're going to watch out for one another, and we're going to all commit to stepping up and stopping when that happens. Or like I said, if you don't feel comfortable, download the app. It's a free app. It's really wonderful that they do, and you can anonymously report, you know, conditions that you feel are unsafe.
Right, and let me just tell anybody out there, any person, number one, don't worry, that old cliche, you'll never work in this town again, bullshit. You will
Burnie
work.
will hire you.
Yeah, I'll hire you. I'll hire you. But you will work in the town again, and I'll tell you, people on set will respect you for standing up for your own safety. Okay, that's your safety. And you're probably, if you're saving yourself, you're probably saving someone else on set as well. But I'd like to talk, and go full screen on this, would you, on this for us right now? Take it out of PMP, but here's what I'd like to say is no, put me up. Unless we can make those guys' mouths move. Yeah, there you go, okay. No animation today. But I'd like to tell the older people on set, the people that are more established, the people that are there, if you see a producer doing something, don't wait for the new person, the PA, or the person who's, you know, second in line there to say something. You speak up. You speak up. I think it's people's with experience, with set experience, and seeing something. And this is, I'm not saying you have to take the issue on everything, but this is something you need to step in and stick up for people who are being used. And you know how that works on set. They'll take the lowest PA and they go, no, you go on the train track. Yeah, you go down and lay that there. You know, it happens all the time. So I would like to challenge the people who are on my level. Certainly if you're a DP, you're the head of the department, you should be speaking up. That's one issue I've always had with the Sarah Jones thing. That DP should have never allowed that shot to go on without some sort of proof that it had been locked down. And I talked to friends who work in the railroad industry. If there's train tracks locked down, there is no doubt that it's locked down. They're sending inspectors with you and your crew to report back to everybody up and down their chain that this piece of track is locked down, you know? So I would just say, anybody who's a veteran on set, it's your responsibility to keep everybody on that set safe. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Thank you, Burnie.
Yeah, thank you.
We need the
Thank
support of
you.
everybody.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And it's just, this business is a great business. It's a fun business. It's somewhere you could, you know, be a kid again.
Yes.
You know, it's that,
We
that
get
kind
to
of
play pretend.
We get to
you know,
play pretend.
for our careers.
Exactly.
It's great.
Exactly. But I'll tell you, it's up to you. This business isn't worth dying for, or even an injury. It's not worth it. You know, and a lady was just killed on Deadpool 2.
Yes. Yes, that
And
woman.
this is something that I don't know if this is a fact, but I heard that she was hired as a stunt person, not because she had the experience to do it, but because she looked like the lead actress. And if you put somebody in that position because they just look like somebody and you're having them do dangerous stunts, and apparently she was, you know, it was a motorcycle accident, she had no helmet, and you're doing that, I think you should be prosecuted and sent to jail for whatever time that, you know, that would call for. It's just a terrible situation, but I would just like to, safety is everybody's job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you what you're doing.
Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
yes. So now, where is Roscoe? You're worldwide, right?
Hugely worldwide.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Where are your, how does LA rank? I would imagine it's pretty high up on the food chain within your company, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Is this one of your bigger operations in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Okay.
So outside, in the U.S., it's one of our larger operations. We're headquartered out of the East Coast, but then we have a large LA warehouse and showroom out here
Okay.
where we have everything shipping out of, again, doing product demonstrations and getting feedback from
Right.
folks in the field. And then we also have a facility in Texas, Toronto as well, in North
Okay.
America.
Oh, okay.
And then, like you said, worldwide.
Worldwide. And
Yeah.
where is the corporate headquarters for Roscoe?
Stamford, Connecticut.
Oh, Stanford,
Yeah.
Connecticut.
Yeah,
Oh.
we used to be in New York City, but
Okay.
we keep growing and growing since
Okay.
we opened.
And then
30
you're
years ago.
worldwide, Rome, Paris, London, all of that. Anywhere you're not, besides
Antarctica.
North Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you North Korea.
Who knows? I bet
Yeah.
we've got some CTO making King
You
Jong-il
know what?
look a little.
It probably
good,
is
you know,
over there, yeah.
So
I'm
yeah, I think
sure.
Antarctica. We actually have some video footage recently where we supported some educational endeavors in Nigeria with the new Nollywood
Do we have that
industry
up?
coming
Oh,
up.
let's take a peek at that. That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
So this is Christian Epps. He is one of my favorite people in the whole world.
Okay.
And he has been going over to Nigeria to help that burgeoning film industry get
Okay.
started.
Okay,
So
great,
this is some
great.
great
You know,
footage.
I'm a member of several groups of African filmmakers too, and it's very exciting to see what's going on there. And it's just, in some ways, you know, you see that they don't have much. You know what I mean? In the way of support. I'm glad to see you're over there doing something with them, because that's really great, because very enthusiastic bunch of filmmakers over
And
there.
that's where sometimes the best ideas, right, come
Yeah.
out of not having everything.
Oh, that's where the movie industry came from,
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
You know? How do we do
exactly.
this? How do we make it look like this? What do we do? That was the real magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you're everywhere, every continent except for Antarctica, of course, and out there. Do you have much of a presence in China?
We do. So that is a huge emerging market for the film TV industry, as you know.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things that's always been a part of Rosco is that we always have an emphasis on local support. So we've had dealers and rental houses and things like that all over the world. We have local reps like me all over the world. We really believe in face-to-face communication.
Yeah.
We have blogs, we have marketing stuff, you know, we get the word out, we go to trade shows, but we really believe in sitting down one-to-one with folks.
That's so awesome.
So we've always had a local presence that way, and then absolutely we've moved people over into China now more to help support that industry.
Sure.
And to help their studio system get set up. And then also the UAE is another big market.
Okay,
that's
sure.
coming
Oh
up,
yes.
right?
No, I'm
Yeah.
Once again on a few groups with Dubai
Yes.
filmmakers, and that is huge.
So we just opened up an actual physical location.
Did you?
Over there, I think like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
And I think that's kind of the
Yeah.
other fun thing about working for a global company, and one of the reasons that I made
Sure.
the transition is there's different approaches to
Yeah.
the industry depending on where
Which way you go.
and where you
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
you know?
How does somebody get a hold of Emily?
So you can give me a call. My cell phone is 323-241-2615. Call, text. Like I said, I'm used to being on set at 2 a.m., so it won't bother me.
And where's your shop in LA?
We're in Sun Valley, so
Okay.
up there with several of the other manufacturers, 9420 Chivers Avenue. And please come on down, play with us, explore the new technology, tell us what you want to see out in the field.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm on Facebook.
Yeah, of course, of course. My friend on Facebook. But this is something, remember with Roscoe, they're telling you they want your feedback, they want you to come in, take advantage of that. That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Emily, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming down today.
You're welcome, and thank you, Burnie. I had a great time.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Yep, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Cut. That's a wrap.